Hello again, this is another video expounding upon the topic of exposing covert narcissistic abuse en masse, and making it a crime. Firstly, I wanted to clarify some things. These ideas I am putting forward are not about convincing people who are already aware they have abused us. We've all banged our head against that brick wall before. They are not about vengeance. My revenge fantasies are a lot more messed up than a court procedure, lol. I'm also not saying individuals should go and fight against the court system, or psychologists in their current unaware state. They are likely to not believe your story. You can't explain loopy actions without sounding loopy, due to the fact not many people understand these rules of engagement, yet. I'm also not saying you should go and confront your abusers, or poke the beast out of emotion. We should never have to speak to them again, ever. All I'm trying to do is open up a discussion on how to legally end this cycle of abuse. Abuse should be illegal in all forms, especially long-term abuse. The experience has long-lasting, devastating effects on the target. They can talk to a judge, not us, or others. There has to be some lawmakers that have experienced this. If a covert abuse law movement was created and the information became known at large, I believe a lot of targets would come out of the woodworks. I mean, narcissism is in the DSM, this abuse and its effects are proven. Why is there no spreading awareness, or top psychologists working on foolproof procedures to be written into law? Anyway, these ideas are not to discredit anyone's viewpoint or steps for recovery either. I think it is great so many smart, kind people have put themselves forth to help targets in their time of need. You're saving lives. Without all your efforts and information, many people, including myself, would still be lost, without a clue what has gone on, or worse. That being said though, I believe law and healing can be mutually exclusive, and mutually beneficial. I'd personally be happy to go through a court procedure if I knew the law fully understood, and had tailored the proceedings toward narcissistic abuse. Overall, I'm not comfortable with the view of wanting these predators to be held accountable for their actions as playing the victim. We should just move on, focus on our own life. That's all we can do in the end, but that doesn't mean there shouldn't be repercussions for abusive actions. We aren't playing the victim, we are targets of a predator. It's the same as a serial killer, only one step away really, so it should be a crime. If you are safe and the predator can't physically attack you, then who gives a fuck what they think anymore? They have already tried to destroy our mind and reputation, and they are probably spying on us digitally or through people to get supply anyway. How do we know in their mind winning isn't us staying silent so they can continue abusing others, and us again if they get the opportunity? I know they get supply from any action we take because they think they are controlling us, but so what? I do things for me, not them. I don't think they would have planned on you pressing charges on them in a tried and tested way, so it's not playing their game. At this point, who cares what supply they wrongly perceive you're giving them? Perceive away, freak. I'm just going to keep living. Plus, how are we supposed to ignore a life-altering encounter with a disordered predator? Whether you're paying attention to them or not, they will be attacking you as long as possible. They think they own you forever. Not to mention they continue doing the same horrendous cycle to more innocent victims. I also don't like the fact that people say we become like them by seeking justice. No way. It's action and reaction. We would never unjustly prosecute someone. It's righteous anger. They are criminals and deserve to be treated as such. We definitely want to process the rage and dark feelings against them, as that only damages us, but again I believe healing and the law are mutually exclusive. A lot of the dark feelings stem from the fact there is no justice in this abuse in the first place. If there was awareness and laws in place, they couldn't target anyone effectively, and they definitely wouldn't target people who'd had a narcissist charged before. They'd know they would be exposed. We could wear it like a badge of honor, and be justified in publicly defending ourselves against covert abuse during day-to-day life. Boundary care is a must, but this would be a silver bullet for targets' futures. On that note, sometimes I feel like only other disordered people aren't targeted by narcs, because they recognize the tactics, subconsciously or not. And the narcs recognize they can be used as flying monkeys. The reason empathic people, or should I say normal people, get caught up is because we have good morals and never dreamed this level of evil doing existed. I don't know if I believe in codependency. I think we were just blindsided and stayed because of the tactics used on us. I never thought people like this existed, so I believed some sort of reconciliation could happen. It boils down to, if you know people act this way before getting entangled with the narcissist, it's probably because you act this way. I believe good morals make a good person, the rest is just character traits, since ultimately we don't cross others' boundaries, or we apologize if we do and make amends. We don't need to be perfect. It's an unfair expectation that we must look at every aspect of our life so drastically. If someone looked at the predator's actions for 1 second, we might lose some fake friends, but we would be able to keep developing naturally, learning from trial and the error of fairly innocent mistakes. But I'll go deeper into this philosophy in another video. We also deserve vindication from the public who were not directly involved, believing smear campaigns, or thinking both of you are to blame. If the courts understood how to find the guilty party systematically, then we wouldn't face as much victim blaming, as you have irrefutable proof they are a personality disordered individual. People gossip, especially in professions. Most times you'll never know who your abuser has gotten to. Flying monkeys a lot of the time won't even approach you. The abuser's lies might get you ostracized from a whole field of work. It's good to not care what people think if it's not true, but that doesn't change the reality of what's happening. We could put this info into the air to counteract a smear campaign. Plus, this abuse makes it hard to relate to people properly again. It's not just what they've heard about you. It's your perception of people that are willing to believe bullshit, which seems like just about everyone. Or you see how pervasive this abuse is. Even small forms of emotional manipulation are implemented with good intentions. You lose respect for a ton of people, and they may be mostly innocent in the first place. Not to mention the fact of being isolated and stuck in fight or flight so long that you haven't been able to maintain a lot of your old relationships. You're left in a place where you don't even want to reach out to people anymore. It's fucked up on so many levels. In a court case, the charmed circle will need to be summoned to give statements under oath of their version of events. Then all narratives can be compared. The narratives will all be different, lol. I wouldn't want to see or talk to them since I've already lost all respect for them, but it would be funny and satisfying to know a room full of people unanimously agreed the narcissist is guilty, to know the charmed circle can't ever truly deny it inside. Also, if they try to continue the smear campaign, people who know will shame them for once. Now, a lot of people talk about the predator's reaction and unaccountability, how they would fool everyone into re-abusing the target. I disagree. Once you know how their minds work, they can't hide anymore. The only reason they can manipulate people is because they are unaware. Like I mentioned above, it's the same rule. They are not disordered, so until they experience it, or someone official they will undoubtedly believe confirms and explains it, they will not know what to look for. A court case could look something like this. Proof of abuse in the target first, separate abuser and target throughout all proceedings, collect statements and evidence from all major parties involved, then statement analysis and evidence assessment, then they get charged. They can't deny it, saying it was never that serious or the target overreacted. The law will know that it is very serious, due to understanding and acknowledging the effect it had on the target that is pressing charges. Even if the narcissist is deluded to the point they believe they have done nothing wrong, or it was the target abusing them, it won't matter. The evidence says otherwise. It's extremely similar, again, to catching a serial killer that denies everything, and will never ever admit they are lying, or have deluded themselves they are telling the truth. The evidence and your statements say otherwise. Too bad. They don't need to take accountability for their actions. I know they won't. We force them and they have families to take it. Plenty of criminals say they are innocent, and these criminals are probably all narcissists themselves. After a verdict, a protective order, restraining order and extreme anti-stalking measures will need to be put in place. They may need to be banned from the internet like a hacker, and have all their phone calls recorded, or made to wear a tracking bracelet. Anything possible to try and assure they do not contact or go near the target again, which may mean them being sent to prison since things could get violent. Or an asylum might be a better option. I know that pushing them to a point where they might get violent is not the best answer, but that is the constant threat of their existence anyway. The only options are to try and find a way to stop this abuse, or to let them continue ruining people's lives, social circles and society at large. If we do nothing, we are leaving targets defenseless and granting these abusers immunity because they are scary, which is not freedom. Honestly, I don't have all the answers, I just feel this can't continue. The last thing I want to talk about is proof. People say there is no proof in covert narcissistic abuse, but there is, as I have stated before. I am currently working on a detailed video on this subject, but I would love to hear anyone else's ideas. I'm sure this community could work together to find solid proof that could not be misconstrued. So that's it. Thanks for listening. So far the system has failed us in this area, but it shouldn't have to remain this way. I just want this world to be less fucked up. Imagine if we could make people aware and stop this abuse almost completely. What would that mean for our societies, since we're living in a sociopathic matrix? I'm not holding my breath that I will ever see vindication myself, but again, it would be great in the future if people were aware and protected, since there should always be consequences for unlawful actions. Goodbye.